Welcome to Yumeship Chronicles. Watch as we create dreamy worlds of love and magic, like what you see. Hit like, subscribe, and share with your friends to join the journey of creating the perfect love universe.
Because you really do like me, but you can't say it. You really do appreciate me, but you can't say it.
DJ, turn it up, DJ, turn it up,
I'll pick Clark. I'll pick Clark. I'll pick Clark.
Liberal, happy fun, la la la, human smuggling, fentanyl deaths, forced government euthanasia, chopping.
Can't give head, really you ain't shit, need a laxative. Niggas ain't shit, come up in your crib, all up in your face, captivate. Look at what you did, listen to your friends when they say niggas ain't shit. Left on red and can't give head, really you ain't shit, need a laxative. Niggas ain't shit, come up in your crib, all up in your face, captivate. Look at what you did, listen to your friends when they say niggas ain't shit. Left on red and can't give head, really you ain't shit, need a laxative. Niggas ain't shit, come up in your crib, all up in your face, captivate. Look at what you did, listen to your friends when they say niggas ain't shit. You had the baddest bitch, left on red and can't give head, really you ain't shit, need a laxative. Niggas ain't shit, come up in your crib, all up in your face, captivate. Look at what you did, listen to your friends when they say niggas ain't shit.
Is it just me that finds it weird that people Yumeship or self-ship with Jimmy from Mouthwashing? Like, it's one thing to enjoy the character for their writing, but I feel like fantasizing about being in a relationship with him is strange. Like, why would you want to date this guy? People only Yumeship with him because he is seen as conventionally attractive, and they completely ignore what he has done. Anyways, Lee out.
What's it like to be?
did people rename self-shipping to Yumeshipping? It was called self-shipping because you ship the fictional character with yourself. You guys want everything to sound cute by using Japanese wording. You probably are thinking that this is a non-issue, but this has happened before. And on the topic on this shit, call me insensitive, but self-shipping with a character as a way of coping is not weird, but can become unhealthy. I have seen countless of times people killing and harming themselves or others because people say, I'm actually dating character insert, not you. What do you guys think about this?
God, I sure hope no Yum-shippers happen upon this video. And if they do, they better not show me art of their FO or Yumeship. Coughs really loudly. I said I hope no Yumeshippers see this and show off their ship. That would be terrible. Like, I wouldn't know how to cope. It'd be so dreadful. I can already predict the waves of agony. So, whatever you do, don't show me any of your Yum art. Because I would hate that. Very much.
I personally believe that Yumeshipping becoming the popular term for self-shipping online in recent years simply happened because of the increase of oshikatsu popularity in the West, and that's it. Like, it's not even remotely a big deal, because both terms Yumeshipping and self-shipping have existed for a very, very long time, and they're pretty much synonymous. In fact, Yumeshipping came first from, like, visual novels, so let's put to rest the idea that TikTok made it up. I think the rise of fandom culture becoming more mainstream, and then the West, and in turn TikTok, getting really into itabags and other Oshi-related hobbies, is really the only reason it happened, because they line up pretty well time-wise. I truly don't think it's as deep as people try to make it seem. People will try to make it like an issue to get mad about, and I think that's kind of dumb. Whenever anything gains more popularity, there will be people who join just because it's popular at the moment. It's also important to remember that a lot of people who are getting into Yumeshipping right now are kids who were not old enough to be actively into it when it was just called self-shipping here in the West.
If you're a Squirm Yume, Fictionkin, or IRL, shut the fuck up, oh my god. You're invalid, and you're bullshitting and wanting to be known as the #1 fan so bad.
I think people are forgetting that being a Fictionkin is completely involuntary. As a Manharan-chan Fictionkin, I actually think I have the most say in this, since I do not have any lore. A character doesn't have to have lore for it to be your kin. Hell, the character doesn't even have to exist. It could just be a concept. This is a common misconception that frustrates me a lot. Just because it doesn't make sense to you doesn't mean that it's invalid. All Fictionkins are valid because they physically cannot control who they kin. It's completely involuntary. That's the whole point of being a Fictionkin. Squirm Fictionkins could kin Squirm for numerous reasons that don't involve lore. They could like caterpillars. They could feel deeply connected to his color scheme, or the way that his expression changed whenever he found out that he was caught eating books. You don't have to understand a character on an intellectual and deep level to kin that character. You could deeply relate to the lore of a character that's very traumatic, or you could just have the same favorite color as the character. It does not matter. It is still possible for you to form a kin of that character despite the lore that they have or don't have. And I'm realizing now that I'm saying this that this is a very easy concept to grasp if you do understand what Fictionkins are, so maybe just think before you post next time. Hope this helps.
Yumeshippers or self-shippers who bully the people within their own community have got to be one of the greatest examples of pick-me's I've seen in a while. And by bully, I don't mean telling a grown adult that they shouldn't Yumeship with a child. That's common sense more than anything. I guess an example of what I mean is how non-toxic non-sharers are treated by a majority of their own community. Mostly sharing Yums to be exact, speaking as a sharer myself. Also, I've mentioned it before, but this applies to the people who insist on making fun of those who call it Yum shipping. Whether you like it or not, both self-shipping and Yum shipping aren't considered normal things to do. And I believe a lot of individuals forget about that due to the supportive people they surround themselves with, as well as the way their algorithms have been built over time. But if you go up to the average person and start yapping about this hobby, there's a high chance they'll take you for a weirdo, no matter your sharing status or whichever terms you use for it. All of that being said, you're not going to be favored by these people simply because your views cater to theirs. You're not going to be seen as less weird for agreeing with people who already think the hobby itself is bizarre. You're not one of the better ones just for mindlessly going along with whatever other people or antis have to say about Yumeshipping. If you genuinely hate or pick on the harmless parts of your own community that much, why are you even participating in the first place?
I know it's been quite some time, so let me fill you in. I passed all my exams and I made it into 3 of these classes, 2 normal and 1 honor roll, and I've inserted myself beside him in all classes. Okay, so a while ago I read your guys' comments and you guys had some really great advice. However, what I ended up doing was I added everyone I knew in person on Instagram, went on account after account, and I was eventually able to find his account on the following list of one of his friends' accounts. From then on, I initiated a tactic that I learned off of 4chan. I used several alt accounts and began to gradually follow him on each one, and I would start up conversations with him in different ways. To be safe, my first alt account was male, and with it I learned his interests, which were weightlifting and video games, but he mostly enjoyed caring for his animals. I then used one more male account just to make sure and had them text him regularly, speaking about politics and economics and such. I then had one of my alt accounts introduce a girl named Lindsay, which I would use as my female proxy to gather data on how he reacted to women. Prior to this, speaking with him on my male accounts, he'd often call women foids and mentioned how he hated every girl at our school due to their hypergamous nature and odd social construct. To counter this, I tried to act the complete opposite to that and maintained a cool, level-headed personality while texting him under this Lindsay persona, and there I garnered answers on his sexuality, preferences, and female type, all under the guise of curiosity. I gradually began to dress and act at school as his dream girl, wearing no makeup and modest clothing while maintaining heavy composure and dignity. Apart from Lindsay, I had a couple other female personas, all flawed in their own way, to see how Dee would react and treat them, most of them with addictions they were trying to clear from, which also gave me an outlet of escape. Once I'd had gathered enough evidence, slowly but surely I'd have each of the girls relapse to the point where Dee could not stand to speak with anymore and would be forced to cut them off. Keep in mind, all the while I'm doing this, I'd see him every day at school and I'd still collect his used things from the trash or from his bag. During this experimentation period, in class Dee would often bounce his leg or pick at his nails, small things, but I could tell this was doing more harm than good, so I decided to end it off quickly for the sake of his mental health. After about a month of small talk during in-between classes, and almost complete radio silence, I asked him if he was okay, trying to position myself as a person he could speak to rather than a stranger. He had a fuzzy look in his eye, his gaze lingering on my new appearance, before stating it was nothing. I realized I needed to do more than just talk. I needed to show him that I loved him. So I bit the bullet and finally, after all this time, added him on my main account. I texted him small things at first, but slowly I began to gain his trust as he opened up to me about all the people he tried to help and how it was mildly annoying since he wasted his time. Overall, he seemed over it though, since he did not care much for those characters in the first place. I would nod along and listen and open up about my own home life too, and we began to bond over our similarities and admire our differences while I kept his perfect woman persona. Early on into our text, I was direct and forward and expressed my want for romantic relations, which, after a week and a half of pondering on, he decided was okay, and then I began my true pursuit of D. Now, everything after this point is strictly confidential since I respect our relationship too much, but I hope you guys can cheer me on from now on. What do you guys think? Was this a bit unethical? Well, love makes you crazy. Celeste out.
Take this as an invitation to yap about Ricky. I'll give a rundown of his basics and his dynamic with Lucifer. So some of y'all will know some of this already, but I've never actually sat down and explained it at all. Ricky is Lucifer's courtier, and he's a hellborn demon created by Lucifer. Now I assume that the Morningstar family lives in some kind of like mansion or palace and therefore likely has staff, and I don't believe that Lucifer would hire sinners, but perhaps Lilith did, but that would mean that after she left, so did their staff, and so Lucifer not only lost his wife, but lost his help as well, because I think a part of Lucifer's ego would be like, only a demon created by me can be trusted to handle my personal issues. But also just then he has more control over what kind of person he's being vulnerable around. Ricky being a bird just worked out conveniently. I like birds, and my friends tell me a lot that I look like a bird. So it's very convenient that Lucifer also likes birds. We know birds are somewhat of a muse to Lucifer because of his duck obsession and the creation of the Goetia family. So I think it's natural that a demon who is created to be a comfort to him would be something that he finds familiar and comforting. Ricky is a hermit thrush, by the way. Lots of people assumed that he was an owl. He is not. He's specifically like a songbird of some kind. Ricky is created to serve as Lucifer's professional advisor and personal caretaker, which does include taking care of Charlie, who would be a teenager at the time of his creation, so in her like emo era. Now courtiers do need to be well educated. They handle a lot of advising and managing important affairs. So Ricky is likely more informed on Hell's politics and current events than Lucifer, given that Lucifer just kind of gave up and it's Ricky's job to try to keep him in track. But Ricky is also very sheltered. His worldview starts and ends with the Morningstar family. He's existed for less than a decade and he doesn't leave the home when unnecessary. He knows the sins, he knows enough to get Lucifer through his meetings and paperwork and manage his public image, but it kind of ends there. He doesn't engage with sinner affairs because much like Lucifer, he doesn't like them and he does not care about their problems. Ricky has like a library of books and stuff that he's able to learn about the world from. Lucifer does try his best to make sure Ricky has enough information to draw his own conclusions if he wants, because as much as he wants Ricky to like him, he cannot control the personality or the thoughts that Ricky grows into as he becomes a sentient person, and it's by chance that he likes Lucifer and his job so much. That being said, the Bible or whatever equivalent exists in the Hellverse is kind of like a fairy tale to Ricky, because like, yeah, he knows about the fallen Eden and all that stuff, but he's gonna see the way the entire world and heaven sees Lucifer and then look at Lucifer as he sees him on a personal level daily and find it just ridiculous and so like exaggerated that he's gonna be like, there's no way anybody believes this is real. Now, despite how sheltered Ricky is and how narrow his worldview is, it's important to mention that this is not a conflict in their relationship. Ricky does not yearn to see more of hell or anything like that. He views it as, I get to live with the king and I don't need to deal with the outside world. This is great. Back when I started this account, some people really wanted them to be angsty and kind of toxic, and while I could have easily told that story, it's not the dynamic I went with. And to be honest, a story where Ricky is trapped in isolation is too much like my real life, and this is supposed to be my silly fun time. So, if I want fictional me to be content and well taken care of, that is what is going to happen. They have a very fluffy dynamic. Ricky is happily devoted and Lucifer treats Ricky like his prized creation. They're both pampered like crazy. And while Ricky was created to serve Lucifer and therefore has an obligation, he does basically everything by choice. Like, he enjoys it and will often do more than what is asked of him because that's how he shows affection. Or like, Lucifer will give Ricky more tasks than necessary just so they have an excuse to be around each other. And they can be like, no, this is for work. This is part of the job. and then he's making him do something stupid that he could do himself, like wash his hair or something. Ricky would never be the one to make the first move because he views it as very important that he remains proper and somewhat formal with how he addresses Lucifer. Not out of obligation or fear, it's just how he shows respect, and maintaining utmost respect is in his mind how to show Lucifer's importance to him. Lucifer obviously cares much less about this. I'm sure at first he was probably very insistent that Ricky drop the formalities, but stopped trying to train it out of him once he realized it wasn't coming from a place of fear. And let's be real, he's secretly all giddy about someone doting on him so insistently. Now this isn't to say that Ricky won't ever call Lucifer out, because it's part of his job to keep Lucifer on track. And that has to be very frustrating sometimes, but the thing about that is that he's able to have those moments without it being an issue because he doesn't and has no reason to fear Lucifer. Lucifer has never tried to drill blind, unquestioning respect into him or has ever been an unkind boss. Ricky's good at his job because he's not forced to be a yes man. He is a yes man by choice. As for behavior, lots of people also assumed that Ricky speaks and acts like Stolas, and I don't think so. I think Ricky would be fairly reserved and a bit softer spoken, and I think he'd speak very simply most of the time. Very straightforward and honest. He probably takes things way too literally. And because of the way he speaks, when he does joke, it probably just sounds like he's saying something odd because it doesn't quite come off as a joking tone. I also think he'd fumble over his words a lot, but not in a shy way or anything. He's just very unsocialized. Again, the only people he's around frequently are Lucifer and Charlie, and they're not exactly good role models for socializing. Situations where Ricky needs to be put together and well-spoken are rehearsed and fairly scripted, but he can't do anything about that in normal settings, especially with sinners when he has no idea what to expect from sinner behavior. It's not like him or the Morningstars are saints of any kind, but the sheer intensity and shamelessness of how sinners speak and behave would probably leave him baffled and not really knowing how to respond. And I think because of that, to sinners he probably comes off as uppity, but it's coming from a place of bewilderment. Oh god, I'm probably forgetting so much, but this video is too long. This recording is like 10 minutes. I'm gonna have to trim this down so much. Hopefully I covered enough for a good starting point.